If you talk to anyone around the world of women's college basketball, they all understood that head coach Erin Batth and Providence was going to succeed sooner than expected, and her team was going to want to run through a wall for her. And that's exactly what's happened now with expectations in year two. We are here to talk all about it, getting into it. Happy Thursday to you. Locked on Women's Basketball starts now.
You are Locked On Women's Basketball, your daily podcast on women's basketball. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Thursday to you and welcome to Locked On Women's Basketball. I'm your host, Howard Megdal. I want to thank you for making us your first listen every day. More than 300,000 of you showed up in October alone. First time, but not the last time, reaching that milestone for us, the way we show up for you 6 days a week. Subscribe to us on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, it is not just me. It is the incredible team, not just other hosts here, but across the universe of The Next at thenexthoops.com. We have over 100 reported pieces every single month. We have a dedicated Big East reporter, T. Baker, operating out of, you guessed it, Providence. So make sure you subscribe, $9 a month, $72 a year. Support the work. We are going to be there all the time. And truly, forgive this point of personal privilege. It is so much fun covering this Providence program. Head coach Erin Batth in her first year exceeded expectations, I think it would be fair to say. And now in year two, we show up at Big East Media Day. Third is where you are preseason. So that carries with it some different expectations. Welcome to the program. Take me through what you felt when you heard that, saw that, and what's the communication like with your team afterwards?
Wow. First of all, thanks for having me, Howard. This is awesome. Honored to be on this show.
Anytime.
Well, I actually, when I was told, I said, run it back, come again. not to take anything away from my women. I love my team, but very surprising, thankful, but definitely very stressful. But after the conversation, I mean, I just think high expectations is the foundation for what I do anyway. But it's really a focus of the end game. So very nice to be recognized, but the reality is we have a long way to go. And I'm looking forward to it. I am looking forward to this journey. I think that our women have really stepped up and come together, and it should be an exciting season.
It's interesting to me. So you guys, I mean, 13-21 is the top line record, but I think we've talked about this before, right? That winning in basketball is so much to me like putting together the proper combination in a safe. And you can get almost all the numbers, but until all the numbers are clicked into place, that door is not swinging open. And there were obviously, when you dig even a little bit into what you guys were able to accomplish in year one is significant. One of the first things to me is the fact that you were a top 100 defense in points per possession and points per game in year one. Defense is often something that's a lagging indicator. You spoke to me a little bit off the air about this team being like a family. How much is communication allowing you to supercharge your defense ahead of where you even necessarily thought you'd be heading into year two?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's about changing the way they think and how they feel about defense, how important it is. But that is number one in my book. I was a better defender than I really was on offense, to be honest with you, just me as a player. And I know that that's a really big deal. And I think that I know and I'm confident that defense will take you really far. Now, you got to put the ball in the hole. Don't get me wrong. But definitely want to be able to shut your opponent down. But communication is everything, and energy. And so we thrive on that. Our practices are mainly a lot of defense. And so concepts, and coming in again from last season, I had to retrain my philosophy, forcing the ball to the corner, things like that, to these women who've been taught the opposite for the last 3 years of their career. So that was, kind of very much of a step-by-step process, but they bought in and they get excited on it. And I want to continue that, but definitely communication, energy, making sure everybody's moving together and being as one. And I really do believe the fact that they're so close that they will get on that white line, that they will, take charges, that they're going to jump passing lanes and showing that energy and getting hyped just as much as if they shoot a three.
When we spoke about the goals you have for this team writ large, you talked about turnovers, and we'll get into that in a second. You talked about the foul rate as well. The foul rate nationally was not so bad. If you looked at it overall within the national context, you were 118th out of 360 teams. Do you have a specific number in mind when you're looking about that? Do you need to be top 50 in order to sort of limit opposing teams' opportunities at the free throw line?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well said. Definitely top 50 or higher.
Hmm.
Where I was taught, and to give a lot of credit to Coach Westmore at NC State, just the fact that he always would talk to us about how at that time UConn was always number one in the country with least fouls committed, and they were top. They're still top in the country. And so, when in doubt, when you want to be great, you look at who's great. And you do that. So I remember just carrying that over here to Providence. I think that's a really big deal. Definitely don't want to bail people out. We want to allow people to miss, and then we want to go, push it down the on the other end. But definitely higher up. I mean, that's not bad, 100, but I would love to be in the top 50.
Hmm.
Really change the game.
You talk about being top 50 on that end. You talk about keeping people from being able to push it at the other end. And obviously, that was the biggest single, I just let's say, limitation on the offensive end. The turnover rate north of 24% on the offensive end. You also have some really talented playmakers coming in that help change the way in which you're able to handle the ball. And I'm just wondering how much of it is personnel and how much of it is an adjustment in year two, just schematically. Take me through sort of how you're attacking that.
Yes, definitely personnel. We didn't have Kylie Shepard last year, and then Gracie Fosa was hurt for 11 or 12 games. So we didn't have either one of them for a long time. And so we had to put people in places that they're not their natural positions, which I give them a lot of credit. When I want to say Marta on our team ended up being our point guard, and that's not her natural position, but she was willing enough to do what it took to get us to where we needed to be. So a lot of respect for her.
Mhm.
But definitely having those playmakers in. We've got Orla Gormley, a freshman coming in from Massachusetts, who's one of the best playmakers I've seen already. She's so quick as a hiccup, can deliver the mail. I'm telling my big girls, you're open. You don't think you are, but it's coming. So please be prepared, And so she makes us faster already. But then also just the schemes, our offensive schemes. Last year, it's so interesting because the girls were wide open. Our players could be wide open with layups and we wouldn't make them, or
Right.
we're making a pass and, maybe it's not there and they think it's there. So it's a lot about just my terminology, the pace in which I want them to go. I want them to go faster and be more aggressive. And with that, yes, we're fumbling the ball. We are, maybe not catching it at the right time. And so we've been really doing a good job this summer of making sure, we can get the timing right, making sure we take things step by step. And so a little bit of both, but definitely been great. I see a better team already. I think that goes into us being maybe picked a little higher too. We're just playing harder, just
Mhm.
more aggressive, get after it and on both ends of the floor, leave it all out there. And so I think that's really helped us a lot.
The specifics of where you're getting your shots is always really interesting to me. And again, in year one, the way you were able to implement and limit the lower percentage looks, you took 15% of your shots from outside the paint, but not at 3-point range, which is one of the better numbers that you're seeing in all of Division One. Now,
Yeah.
two parts to that, right? Number one, you were below essentially national average when it came to finishing at the rim. And so, in addition to obviously making sure that folks are ready, making sure you're limiting those sort of interior turnovers, do you feel like your team is better prepared to convert those opportunities? And then number two, I just wonder, is 15 where you want to be in terms of the mid range, or do you even want to get that number low? I mean, obviously, there are these outliers like Utah, I think is somewhere in the neighborhood of like 4% on an annual basis. And I wonder sort of what's ideal for you.
Yeah, well, 15%. I'd want more. I mean, I'd like to shoot the three more anyway. I think we have great
Mhm.
3-point shooters. But I really, the focus was Olivia Olsen.
Right.
I tried to get the ball inside. I tried to teach them to get your feet in the paint, attack, attack, attack. So definitely would want, more 3-point shots, taking more, making more, getting everything up. I think Bryn Farrell does a good job of opening the floor up for us as well. Same with Marta. Marta can shoot it quickly. And sometimes I'm like, what are you doing? Yeah, that was a good shot. But what? So we had a lot of that last season
Yes.
too. But definitely want to get that up. And please repeat your second question, the second part of that question.
Just wondering also, is 15% from the mid-range about where you want to be, or do you want that number even down further? People have sort of different views on what is ideal for that from an analytics perspective.
Right. Well, again, I think, and forgive me, I don't think I answered the first one, but 15% is good. I think I like the mid-range game. That's what I want. I think that's a part of the game that's kind of missing. Sometimes women can just do the 3-point shot or they get all the way downhill. It's about being able to downshift and read your defender in the second line of defense. I like for it to go up. I like the mid-range game. I do. I think a little bit more would be good. Definitely, again, want to go back to getting more threes off if we can. But I think overall, we're just going to really have to focus on taking care of the ball and making sure that the shot selection is good. We took a lot of shots last year that weren't really necessarily good shots to me. And I'm still trying to educate our women on what is really a definition of a good shot and making sure their confidence is up. Okay. Because I do want them to shoot it, but we have to definitely make sure it's the right one for us.
Going to be really interesting to see the ways in which you do it. Want to talk more about Olivia Olsen and yes, of course, Bryn Fowler. Remind me, what state is Bryn from? I'm trying to remember.
New Jersey.
That is correct. New Jersey pride.
Jersey girl. That's right.
Always good to see it. So we're going to talk more about that in segment 2. Back after this with Erin Batth of Providence. But first, Locked On Women's Basketball is brought to you by Skims for Men. So look, Skims has been around for a long time. We've had it for women. Now Skims is making underwear for men as well. Whatever size you're looking for, whether it's the cotton boxer brief, the stretch 5-inch boxer brief, there's even cotton 3-inch, stretch even Skims cotton brief, period. Whatever you need in order to feel comfortable throughout your day, Skims has underwear for men that allow you to get it. Go ahead and shop Skims Men's at skims.com. Let them know we sent you. After you place your order, select podcast in the survey and select our show in the drop-down menu that follows. And if you're looking for a perfect gift for the whole family, Skims just launched their biggest holiday shop ever, also available at skims.com. Howard Megdal back here with head coach Erin Batth of Providence, talking about the Friars here in year 2. And again, yes, do I always want to talk about the Jersey kids? Absolutely. But before we get to that point, Olivia Olsen is a force and somebody who I don't know necessarily gets the type of attention that she ought to. And I just kind of want to point out, heading into year 4 for her, she was north of 53% from 2-point range last year. Somebody just a monster on the boards, capable of doing a little bit of everything, including, of course, block percentage at 6, which is really significant. It's the top, I think, 4th percentile in all of women's college basketball. What are the biggest jumps you're looking to see from her in year 4, where, again, like you said, her reputation is sort of key, I think, to where the team was pegged in the conference preseason?
Well, the biggest jump for Olivia, I really want to see her score more in transition. We're trying to push the ball anyway. And so I've been telling her, like, give me a strike, which means run, run, run. I like to get you on the go. So I like to see her score at least 8 points a game with running the floor because she's so fast. She runs like the wind. So I really, it's a beautiful thing to see too. It's awesome. So I really want to get her on the go. I would like to stretch out her mid-range game. We do have a lot of drivers who can get downhill. And so with her circling around, making space for the dump pass, I think she could really capitalize off of making those mid-range shots. I'd like to see her do that. We've been working on that. And then rebounding. I want her to take over the world, like clean, get a economy size bottle of Windex and clean the boards, baby. I want her to get all the rebounds she can get and more. I think that's a really big deal. Obviously battling for second chance points. Really simple stuff, those three things. But definitely want to see her really go, grow in that area and really just take over. And then I will add a last thing. We are working on her 3-point shot.
You are.
She does want to play in the next level. And so I thought, I definitely think that would help her game. And so we're trying to get her a couple of looks here and there. She's not totally comfortable. She did hit some last year. Thinks that she hit a step back 3 last year. And she was like, woo. I'm like, woo, now get back on defense, baby. Like, what just happened? But it's always like the first couple of shots in the game to get your confidence. So I really want to build off of that.
I want to drill into each of those a little, but I do think, and it's worth noting, and I point this out all the time when we're talking about this, there are coaches who are preparing their players to simply play for now, and there are coaches who are developing people for what they want to do next. And so just a shout out for you and your staff to be thinking about that, because it matters and people pay attention to it and people need to pay attention to it. But let's drill into what she is as a player. And you point out accurately, and again, this goes back to what you are as a team, that you guys were 60th in the country in offensive rebounding percentage. So much of that is not size. So much of that is effort. And she helped lead the way. She's been in double digits in offensive rebounding percentage her freshman year, again in her junior year, turning her into that type of elite rebounder who can also shoot the 3. Those seem to you like kind of the missing pieces for how you get her where she wants to go. Is that right?
Absolutely. Again, the rebounding, and I always tell her this, like her head coach, I was a post player. So I'm always, I feel bad. Her life has changed completely because now I'm like yelling at her 10 billion times more than anybody else, to be honest with you. Olivia, hear me, and in her sleep. Right. But want her to, the effort is huge. And I think, well, just see me coming here, and not to take away from any of the staff prior to me, but just reminding her that she could really be awesome. And if the game can be really simplified for her to be awesome. You don't have to do all this wonderful, all these moves. If you can keep it simple, you can be a pro. You can get it done by keeping things simple and being really effective. So my conversations with her have been, what do you want to be known for when you're on the floor? When you're subbing in, what are they? They're like, oh, Lord, here comes Olivia Olsen. You better box her butt out. You better run the floor because she's going to get a strike on you. Those are the kind of things I keep talking to her about. But yes, being able to clean up the boards, get offensive rebounds, being the kick out for the 3 herself changes the game completely. How do you guard a 6'4" kid that shoots the 3 and then will run the floor and will rebound for you and block shots? I mean, she's checking a lot of boxes for us, but I've got to make her understand being consistent in those things is huge. She will do it sometimes. She doesn't do it all the time. So that is that's one of our biggest challenges over and over again.
And that is to your other point about her scoring in transition. Her synergy numbers just kind of pop off the page. She was at 1.469 points per possession in transition, but it was only 7% of the time. And so, how much does that go back to our conversation in the first segment about defense and making sure that not just the turnovers coming down, particularly I'm sure the live ball turnovers, but making sure that you guys are forcing more turnovers as well to sort of create those opportunities for her?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the defensive. That's what we do. That's what I want to do. I want to pressure. I always want to have pressure at the point of the ball, and I always want somebody on the white line. I always remind our women that you're gonna make a mistake. So who's on the white line? Do you have your sister's back? What are you doing? And so that's huge. And obviously taking limiting opportunities in the paint is huge. Those are high percentage shots. That's something we talk about all the time. That's where our post players come into play. Making it really tough for anyone trying to get in the paint, making sure, we're the last line of defense. I said, look at that. I'm already there. Me being a post player. Us big girls are the last line of defense. So I really talked to her about that. Yes, let's turn the ball over so you can run, go, so that's something that we talk about daily.
It's really interesting to think about, not just in terms of some of your individuals. And again, the 3-point shooting is there and available to you, but just in the way in which it builds into the coherent whole. So we're going to be back in segment 3, talking about sort of that bigger picture, where you're going and what's ahead. So I'm Howard Megdal. You're listening to Locked On Women's Basketball. Locked On Women's Basketball is brought to you by FanDuel. And look, My Giants are not playing well. They're not playing well, okay? But NFL action, it continues. I understand there are other teams. Save yourself. Go watch a different team and not just watch. You can now, as a new customer, bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. Again, bet $5 on, I mean, let's be real, some team other than the Giants. And if you win, you get $150 in bonus bets. You can go check out, keep tabs on how you're doing over at the FanDuel app. You can check out the latest stats, view the live play-by-play, and so much more on the same place where you place your bets. FanDuel.com to join today. Back here in segment 3, Howard Megdal, Locked On Women's Basketball, joined here by Erin Batth at Providence. And as we think bigger picture, we talked, you mentioned Westmore, you talked about NC State, a consistent contender, a team that I had the privilege of covering in the Final Four last year. So when you think of what Providence ought to be long-term, how do you define it? How do you define that success for the program? And more specifically, what does year 2 need to look like to get it to where you want it to be?
Well, we definitely want to be known for being gritty and tough. That's the one thing I want on the scouting report for anyone who plays us. Like Erin Batth and Prop, they are going to be tough. They're going to be gritty. They're not going to quit. And I think a lot of coaches would tell you that. But that's something that I feel, that's something that's inside my heart that I want them to do. And that carries over to their lives. So just because I'm a coach does not mean I don't want to make sure these women are successful in their lives. So be gritty, be tough, don't quit, and everything that you do. And so that always carries over to life. So I think that's really awesome. And then the big picture, what we need to do this season is we got to win. We got to get some wins. We do. And that's just a coach talking to you about basketball. You've got to get it done. I think getting the NCAA tournament is a big deal. I love the Big East Conference. We have a lot of amazing schools here, a lot of great competition. A lot of our teams get into postseason play, but it is time for us to get back. We've got to get it done. So all that comes into play with taking care of the ball, making sure we're good defenders, making sure our girls are going to sleep at night. Everything matters. We've got to make sure we're doing what we're supposed to be doing off the court, which our women do, but I've got to stay on them. They're still college students, got to go to bed and eat right, all those things. Me and myself, I got to make sure that I am learning too and being the best head coach I could be, learning from my mistakes as well. Definitely took last season as a huge blessing, but a huge lesson. So many things that I learned last year. Couldn't be more grateful. I have an awesome staff. They are in tune. They have our women in the gym all the time. The women that I have surrounded myself with are way smarter than me. They are awesome. They are awesome assistant coaches. Give them a lot of credit for getting our women to where they are. You could already see if you look at some of the numbers from Bryn Farrell's sophomore year to her junior year, up in points. We're posting her up more. She shot at least maybe 50 or 60 more free throws than she did the season before. Like all of our numbers are going up and we're getting better. So again, we have got to get some wins. 13 and 21 was all right, not great, but we can do better. We can do better. And our non-conference schedule is tough. We're playing some awesome teams, and that's the way it should be. So we need to get battle tested, right? We got to get battle tested, ready to go, so we can get ready and get things done in the Big East conference, and then hopefully get an opportunity to play postseason. So we got to get it one day at a time.
I need to end with the big picture and talk about all that you have done and sort of where this fits in. But you're right. We have to talk about that non-conference before we get to it. And a difficult test coming to Alumni Hall on Friday, and Columbia coming off of an NCAA tournament appearance. And Megan Griffith always has her teams ready to play. That is, to fail to understand how good the Ivy League is a mistake, particularly at the top half of the league, and particularly with Columbia. How much was scheduling them early part of you getting a sense of what this team is? And by no means, just so we're clear, is this the lone test. You go to BC, you play at Dayton, you got Wisconsin on the preseason schedule. I mean, at Rhode Island before you even get into the conference. Yeah. I mean, Brown's going to be good this year. I mean, there's a lot to test, but I just wonder, how much is that Columbia game going to show you? And specifically, what is that Columbia game going to show you?
Oh, absolutely. It's very important. Columbia is a great team. We're a humble team here, and I know, it's going to be a great battle on Friday. I'm really excited about it. But no, definitely want to get battle tested early. That's what you want to do. You want to play some really good teams. The team Columbia is a different type of team. Far as they're so fast. They're so smart. I mean, they make the right reads. They push the ball in transition. They crash the boards on offense. They are relentless, and I love it. And I like to say we are too. So it's going to be nice and fun on Friday.
Yeah.
I may be diving on the floor too. So I love the way Megan coaches. I think she's all in it. She loves her team. They are ready. It's what women's basketball is all about. So I'm honored to have her and host her here. And I'm excited to see her again. And it's going to be great. And then the game itself is going to be, a battle. I mean, we're really going to have to be on our P's and Q's defensively for sure. And we have to take care of the ball, but I'm excited for it.
I just think people need to understand before I let you go that you understand this path better than anyone because you have lived it, because you have executive experience in the W. You have executive experience in the NBA side, frankly. You've been a DelPoio for Debbie Ryan. You have done it all. I watched firsthand what you did with Alyssa Cunane at NC State and turned her good to great, turned her into a pro along the way. And so as you kind of think about the pipeline writ large in this incredible year for women's basketball, I just wonder, have you reflected back on it? I mean, you've seen every corner of this world and just, how astonishing is it to you to see sort of where we are now, where we were?
Wow. I am not going to be the first person to cry on this show. I'm not crying. No. That's such a great question. I appreciate you even thinking about me this way. Thank you so much. But I definitely look back on it. I've had some amazing humans that have helped me get here. Amazing. I have coached at the most wonderful places I met, and I've made the best relationships. I still talk to Alyssa Cunane, Raina Perez, all of them. Are you kidding me, Kai? All the schools I've coached at, and just even the other assistants that I work with have been amazing. Debbie Ryan, learning from her. Yes, I definitely look back, and it's so awesome to be at Providence because I've been wanting to do this for a while, but never thought when it would be a good time. Didn't know if I could. It's always that part. I'm a human, you always think, can you do it? But I knew for a fact I have to go back one more time to my assistants. If I surround myself with greatness, I'm going to be all right. And so I've done just that. I will tell you that I did that right. Oh yeah, I can hire well. So I know that for a fact, but I do look back on it, and I definitely want to thank everyone who's been a part of my life and who's still in my life. So definitely. And I can't believe it. I can't believe I get to do this. Thank God every day for it. But I'm nervous. I'm nervous every day. I'm a head coach and I'm human. Nervous every day. I want to make the best decision I can make, and I want these women to succeed. I want them to feel greatness. It's something I've seen what it can do to players when they get it done. It's amazing. It's life-changing. So I hope I can continue to be a part of that.
It's what your players talk about. It is knowing that you're being real with them, and in that opportunity, your coaching staff is incredible. We could do a whole show just on them as well. Erin Batth, it is delightful always to chat with you. I really appreciate your time. Our listeners do as well. I know. To our listeners, I thank you for making us your first listen every single day. We'll be back with you tomorrow, as we are 6 days a week. So until then, I'm Howard Megdal, wishing all of you a wonderful Thursday.
You are Locked On Women's Basketball, your daily podcast on women's basketball. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.